Hi, how you doing? Thanks for coming back to Talk with TQ. Today I'm talking to a very good and respected friend of mine. I always say she's got something up her sleeve, and literally and figuratively, and she's also got the magic touch, literally and figuratively. Her name is Margaret Steele. She's known by many people as a very, I'd say, believable magician. She does magic, but then she also does other things too, and she's an author. So I'm going to try to tie all of that together because that's what you guys want, and I think that you're going to find what she has to say and what she does, you'll find very, very interesting. Welcome, Margaret Steele.
Thank you, TQ.
Yeah, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastically.
Good, good. I'm just waiting for that rabbit to come out of the hat.
Oh, I didn't bring my rabbit.
Oh well, whatever.
I can go get him.
That's okay. Maybe he'll come on his own. You never know,
You never know.
Right? Well, Margaret, tell me how you actually got into the field of magic.
Well, I was always interested as a kid, but I grew up in Virginia and South Carolina, and in those days and those places, there was no way for a girl to learn how to do magic. It was all controlled through a magic club system, and many of them didn't even admit women. So I always had a few books, but I didn't pursue it until I was quite a bit older, and I just fortuitously ran into a magician who connected me with that world, and I started taking lessons.
Wow, that's wonderful. You know, so it's almost like even when you were a child, it was like years ago where if you did practice magic, you were considered a witch.
You didn't have to practice magic to be considered a witch.
You just had to be female, right, to be considered a witch.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really that though. It was just that it was the gates were not open to me.
Yeah. So I imagine that when you were a child, what did you just try to do, card tricks?
I had a couple of books, and I
Yeah.
had a couple of tricks that I would do for everybody. I think I had 3 tricks that I had until I became an actual magician, conjurer, in my 30s.
Conjurer. You know, you've written a book also.
I edited a book.
Oh, you edited this book, okay. And it was about one of the first female magicians.
The first great female magician, Adelaide Hermann.
Yes, and tell the audience a little bit about her. I mean, I know what you've taught me and what's in your book. And what, I mean, okay, tell us about her, and then I'm going to ask you how you ended up becoming the editor of this book.
Okay. Back about 100 years ago, there were no female magicians, and a little before that, even assistants weren't women. They were young boys, usually the son or an apprentice of the magician. And this lady, Adelaide Scarcet was her name, grew up in a time right when performing was becoming more respectable, during the era of vaudeville, which was family entertainment.
Yeah.
And she first became a dancer, then a trick bicyclist. Then she met the world's most successful and famous magician at the time, Alexander Herman, or Hermann as they say. And she married him, and she became the first athletic female magician's assistant.
Wow, that must have been like very controversial, I imagine.
It was and it wasn't. It was kind of boundary pushing, but they did it in such an entertaining way that nobody objected.
Yeah.
Everybody loved it.
Yeah.
But then in 1896, he died suddenly of a heart attack in the middle of a tour, leaving her very financially bereft, and she had all these assistants with her. She had a full company on the road, all these tour contracts. So about 6 weeks after he died, she reopened the show at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York, and she began doing magic for the first time.
Okay.
And then later she went into vaudeville as the first female magician. And the reason she was the only female magician was because as the wife of a magician, she had access to the secrets that no other women had.
Oh, wow. See?
Yes.
So by default.
Right.
Okay. So things do happen that way sometimes.
Yes.
By default, you know, with a late husband.
Right.
So I think that it's really interesting that, and also very admirable that you've actually, it almost seems like from what I could discern when I saw some of the presentations that you made about Adelaide, I guess it was last year, that you sort of tried to emulate her, or that perhaps she's your sort of motive motivation for doing what you do?
Well, when I started there, I had no role models. There have been very few professional women magicians, and the ones I knew about weren't suitable for my style. One was a
Yeah.
great comedian.
Okay.
The other was a great Las Vegas vamp,
Okay.
style of
Yeah.
the 6-inch heels and the, yeah.
Yeah, well, you can do that. We all do
No,
that.
I never could do that. So I was formulating my own style, which was silent magic to music as a dance. And then in the year 2000, even though I knew about Adelaide, I was introduced to her more specifically by someone who was a scholar of hers, a historian,
Okay.
and realized that what I was doing was very much like what she had done.
Yeah.
So I started studying her
Yeah.
and started emulating her more, and then also started realizing that she had written a memoir that nobody had ever found or seen. So that
Okay.
became my life's mission, to find this memoir.
Okay, how did you come across the memoir?
It actually found me.
Oh, okay.
Yes. By the time that the relative who had it in her drawer for it had been passed around among relatives for 78 years
Wow.
since her death.
Okay.
When she decided she wanted to sell it, I was by then the established Adelaide Hermann scholar. So,
Oh, wow, that's nice.
It came to
Yeah,
me.
and I think there's so many people that know nothing about her.
Right.
You know, like you said, you think of women in magic as the woman that says, "Yeah, saw me in half. What the heck?"
Right.
You know, there'll be two of me. Deal with it. You know, but you've actually taken it to another level. Now, I said at the beginning of the show that you have the magic touch as well. You know, and my dog can attest to that. She likes it when you come around. She gets the good pettings. Now, you've also taken up, after magic, you've taken up the field of acupuncture.
Well, actually, I had another long career that people in Peekskill don't even know about. I was
Oh.
a professional orchestral musician for over 30 years.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
a Juilliard graduate, and
Okay.
I worked in New York in symphony orchestras, and then for the last 10 years of my career, pretty much mostly on Broadway.
Uh-huh.
And I transitioned into acupuncture after that career, as
Okay.
I was aging out of that business. So,
Okay.
so I was doing magic simultaneously with music, but
Okay.
I retired from music, and now it's magic and acupuncture. I went to acupuncture school beginning in 2004 and graduated in 2007.
Do you consider yourself a performing artist? A performing artist?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
because-
as much as anyone should call themselves an artist. You
Yes.
know?
Okay. All right. And so you do that. I know that you also teach qigong
Yes.
as well. And so you really have integrated the things that you do. There's something that seems appropriate about the fact that you have the gift and the talent for sleight of hand, with the gift and the talent for actually healing.
Well, the healing is the real magic.
Yeah, that is magic.
Yes,
I can
yes,
attest to that.
yes.
Yeah. So in terms of your acupuncture, okay, was there anything that made you feel that this is what you should do? Was there a relative you wanted to help?
Well, yes, I did want to help my mother.
She
That
had
was a big part of it.
Did she have pain issues?
She had a lot of different illnesses
Okay.
going on, and she did end up passing away
sorry.
shortly after I graduated from acupuncture school. But I was able to help her for the
Yeah.
last few years of her life. But it was so much more than that. I wanted to have autonomy. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't want
Yeah.
to have to look at how many older people have been laid off from their jobs and cannot find another job.
Right, exactly.
And I wanted to have something by which I could control my own life and my own destiny and set my own schedule and
Right.
help people on my own terms.
And what better way to do it than to be in your own business, but actually to have like a healing arts business?
Yes.
You know, there's something very selfless about that.
Oh, yes.
You know, you got to be willing to put your hands on someone.
Well, and also realize that I'm not doing it. It's the medicine. It's the skills that I've learned that I'm just a vessel for this knowledge.
Right.
It's not about me. That's people in every profession sometimes fall into the trap of they see great results and they naturally feel like they want to take credit for it. And I'll take credit for doing my best.
Yeah.
And hopefully having my heart in the right place, but
Yeah.
it's not me, it's the medicine, these techniques that I've learned, this ancient practice that's
Right.
so amazing.
It is amazing, acupuncture. It really is, very much so. And it's interesting to me that you've been able to sort of integrate that into what you do. Because a lot of people say, well, how can you be a magician and an acupuncturist? I've had students say, oh, I hear you're on the radio. You know, how could you be a college, you're supposed to be a college professor. But you know, it's kind of like one big ball of wax that
Sure.
is you.
Sure,
Yeah.
it's a designer life.
That's good,
Yes.
right? A designer
Yes.
life.
Yes.
And you've also taken it to another, I don't want to say level, but you've also taken it to another sort of peripheral field of Qigong, which is also ancient Chinese
Well, yeah.
healing art. Explain it to the audience.
Well, I studied Qigong for years before I went to acupuncture school.
Okay.
Qigong is one of the 5 pillars of Chinese medicine. So any one of these 5 pillars can be considered a complete practice in itself.
Okay.
So the 5 pillars of Chinese medicine are acupuncture, herbal medicine, which I don't really practice except as an aromatherapist,
Okay.
dietary therapy using food as medicine,
Okay.
Chinese body work, which is called Tui Na, and Qigong, which is this meditative movement therapy. So a very high-level Qigong practitioner should be able to heal anything with this.
Oh.
So it's a healing art as well.
Okay. And always so early in the morning.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's a 10.
That's a little
That's
early.
really, that's too early?
Well, yeah, I might be up, but doesn't mean my brain's awake.
You don't have to just,
I could come in without my
you can come in, you can leave your brain at home and
I
just come
can.
in. Yeah.
Oh well, you know, you might be seeing me at that
Okay.
class. You know, so do you have a lot of students that come to the Qigong class?
I have several regular students that come.
Yeah.
And we have room for more though.
Okay.
I do only teach once a week at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays. It's going to start at 10:30 starting in June.
Oh,
10:30.
I'm there.
So, but I'm starting workshops at my loft. The first one is June 18th. It's a self-help acupressure
Okay.
workshop. And I'll be doing a Qigong workshop too. And these workshops will always be free for people that just want to come check it out. So
Oh, that would be
I'll
great.
keep you informed.
Yeah, please do. You know, Qigong is a very important word to me. Someone actually had said that to me some years ago. They found out something about me and they called me and said, Tony, you need Qigong. She was Chinese, American, and she says, you need Qigong. And I remember at the time I'm thinking, like a little too weird. You know, I can do the acupuncture because I can pronounce that
You
and
thought
spell
Qigong
it.
was weirder than acupuncture?
Well, I can spell acupuncture.
Okay.
I couldn't spell Qigong. And she said it began with a Q. I'm like, what?
Except when it begins with a C or when it begins with a K.
Right.
Because it's just a translation of
It's just a
yeah.
translation.
Yeah.
You know, I was not evolved enough to, my mind was not open enough to accept it. But yeah, now it is though, because I've, experienced benefits from acupuncture as well. You know, so what's going on with your magic? I see you always going somewhere. Where are you going? Oh, there goes Margaret. Where's she going?
Well, I've been working for 5 months on a new show
Okay.
because I have a book talk about Adelaide.
Okay.
Cameron, and I have also had a tribute act to her. But now I've integrated the two into a full evening show that I just debuted
Nice.
at the Mark Twain House and Museum in Hartford a
Oh.
few weeks ago, and so I'm working to take that more places.
Okay. How long will it be in Hartford?
Oh, I only did one show.
Oh, one show. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Next
one
time-
night only.
All right. Okay. Okay.
But I hope to be taking that around a lot more, and I'll be doing a children's show at Riverfront Green in July as part of the children's series. That's
nice.
July 7th or 9th, whatever is a Monday night.
Yeah. Okay.
And just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the
You know,
kids
whatever
just-
comes along.
Well, children of all ages love to see you.
thank
And I
you.
have seen a little bit I've seen much of your act. I've seen it evolve. Now,
thanks.
most recently, I think you did a birthday party in your loft. That was most recently, but the most recent one that I've seen was your birthday party, and everybody was, and it was sort of like a special invitation kind of thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for so much.
Oh, sure.
But your show was like beautiful. It was such a gift to see you in that realm, and you're dancing, and you just sort of changed You know, I noticed your costume got a little shorter, showing a little more leg action. Oh, yes. And then you're watching her, and she's like gliding around, and things are just flying all over the place. And nothing's crashing to the ground. And you use
That night.
not that night, but I'm just saying, I'm very impressed with the way you work with hoops and balls and spheres, and you know, it's just amazing. Do you ever get do you have dreams? What do you dream about?
Oh, I dream about all sorts of stuff.
I can imagine.
But, you know, most magic, when I first started in magic, I thought all magicians invented all their own tricks. And my first magic act was all things that I had invented.
Oh.
And I showed it to a magician, and he was first shocked and then impressed. But then I found out that magicians mostly don't invent any of their tricks. They just, you know, they make existing tricks their own.
Right. And
So-
is it like a secret society with like
Oh, yes.
So you can't really tell me how it's done.
No.
What? But
I'll get in
why
trouble.
not? That's right.
Because you won't enjoy it as much if you knew the secret. The secret is usually very mundane and simple, and you know, when you get that backstage look, you lose the magic.
Yeah.
So you're better off not knowing, unless you're going to be a magician, and then you know it's a trade secret.
Otherwise, and if you do know, you shouldn't say you become like a party crasher.
That doesn't help me at all.
It's funny. Some people are like really impressed. I've always loved magic. Can I share this one thing? Is that I've had 2 husbands, and both husbands knew that they had to bring in magicians to entertain me every now and then, because that's what they did. The first husband, I remember bringing before I married him, brought a magician just to entertain me in his grandmother's apartment, and I was like, yeah, okay. And then my second husband took me into Manhattan to the Waldorf Astoria.
Oh, you saw Steve Cohen. Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah, I was like in love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so in love just watching what he did.
That's great that you got to see that. That's
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the best magic shows out there.
I just really, and it's so private, intimate, you know. Perhaps you'll do a show like that in my place sometime.
Sure.
I would love that, you know,
Sure.
to invite you for that. It would be a
Okay.
fantastic party.
Just let me
You
know.
know, because there's nothing like your own private magic show. There's nothing like it.
And the commute is really easy for me.
Yeah, it is actually. Neighbor.
I live 1 block away
Yeah,
from
that's
my artist office.
yeah, right. You
1
don't have
block.
to carry your stuff so far.
Right.
You know, or you can hide it under your jacket or up your sleeve. You know, but I think that in this neighborhood there are so many children, and also we have venues for. You know, have you performed at many of the venues here?
I have. I've performed for Embark, Peekskill,
Yes.
and New Era Creative Space, and at the Bean Runner, and
Yeah.
trying to think where else. You know, trying to be active in my own community.
And-
But most of my performing actually is not here.
Yeah. You've been to
it's-
China.
I was in China last summer. I've been pretty much all over the world.
Yeah. Tell us about your China trip.
Well, I was a character in this wonderful illusion show that is created by and stars this wonderful magician from New York named Arnie Kolodner.
Okay.
And it's called the Magical School for Wizards. I'm not going this summer, though, because it's just too long a tour.
Yeah.
I was invited, but I can't be away for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I
So
won't have
you
an
were-
acupuncture practice.
That's right. You were gone for a long time.
I was gone for a month
You were
last summer.
conspicuously absent.
Why, thank you.
You were conspicuously absent from the neighborhood. Indeed.
But it was something I'd never done before because I've always been the magician, and in this show I was a character in the show and I did my own magic, but I was also the illusion partner, so I was the assistant. So I did 5 illusions. I appeared out of thin air sitting in a chair,
Yeah.
and I had spikes pushed through me, and I levitated and vanished.
And no blood.
Not after the first few rehearsals. Those spikes really come through, though. It's
Yeah.
not like the spikes aren't real.
Yeah.
You have to be out of the way by the time they come through.
Yeah, so it's about speed. And,
They're not as sharp as they say. Though.
Yeah, okay. See, you just gave away a secret.
Well.
Oh, well, I won't tell.
Thank you.
It's okay. No, I think that's fantastic. You were like a celebrity. I don't know over there, but what would happen is you were sending travelogues
Oh, yeah.
back, and we were like, "Look, there's Margaret," you know. And so you were very much the celebrity when you weren't here.
Aw, thanks.
That's why when I say conspicuously absent,
Uh-huh.
because we were all seeing what was going on. It was just so much fun to see you over there and saying like, we know her.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
and what did they think of you? I bet you they just loved you.
Oh, they loved it. The children loved it. The show
Yeah.
also teaches English.
Oh.
It has 3 characters, and the 2 characters that Arnie and I played speak English, and then there's a Chinese character who's the apprentice at the school, and she speaks all her lines in Chinese.
Okay.
So there was a simultaneous translation.
Okay.
So the show taught English, but it was just so much fun. It's a 90-minute, full-blown
Wow.
theater illusion show with sets and costumes, and you
Wow.
know, so it was great to have that experience
Yeah.
to be a character. I had to sing and dance and do all of this
And,
stuff.
and you do sing. I heard you sing.
Oh.
I did. I'm like, Margaret's voice.
Aw.
Yes, you sang at another fellow performing artist here in town, who her first salon, you know, and you stood up and sang, and everybody's like, Margaret can sing too.
I studied voice for many years. but
Yeah.
I kept that kind of in the closet.
Yeah,
I
you
never
know, and
professionally.
your voice is very young.
Thanks.
You have a very young voice, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, you know, sound that comes from your vocals. Yeah,
Oh,
do you
you're
ever
so sweet.
do you ever sing at any of your magic shows? You should.
Yes, I do, and I used to always sing for the kids, and I
Yeah.
kind of got out of that a little bit, and I should get back into it.
Please
Yeah,
do.
I write children's songs too, so
Oh wow.
yeah, I should put those out. But
So
I
you-
just got too much going on. I just
So how do you deal with being so scattered? You know.
That's my biggest challenge.
Yeah.
That's my biggest challenge.
Yeah.
I have this beautiful space where I have my own acupuncture office within my Peekskill artist loft.
Yeah,
So everything's right there. So that's wonderful. That helps
Yeah.
me so much. And my acupuncture practice is now pretty established, and so that's not so hard. But it's just, what am I going to do with my time? You know,
Yeah.
how do I use it most efficiently?
You have to apportion it.
Yes.
Yeah, which is a time management issue.
Otherwise, I'll stand and I'll just spin in circles. So
Yeah, I know. I
You know that feeling?
I do not. I know that feeling all too well. It's kind of like there's so much going on. What do I do first? Do nothing. Just sit here and just like ruminate. What the heck? Ruminate, rotate, whatever. But I think that what you're doing as far as integrating your performing art with the healing art is really very significant. Now, I know that you do sometimes some local type tours where you're here, and you might even go to a senior living residence
sure.
and perform. Do you ever help them with the acupuncture? Do you ever say, well, let me give them a little, because they could use it.
Well, I usually when I'm hired for a show, you know, once in a while I'll let people know the other thing I do. But I very much consider magic a healing art too.
Yes, okay.
You know, entertainment, laughter are, you know, they say laughter is the best medicine, and it sounds like a cliche, but it's absolutely
No,
true.
it's true.
So every time I perform magic, that's in my consciousness that it's a
Yeah.
healing.
It is a healing, absolutely. You know, I can say that laughter is a good medicine, you know, as I like to laugh. Child who used to laugh in her sleep, and they thought, what's wrong with you? She's laughing in her sleep, like cracking up, you know, and you crack yourself up. We've
all the time.
We've had some shits and giggles, we have,
Oh,
haven't
yes.
we? Oh yes, we have, in front of the TV over here one time, which was kind of funny. Someone said, our neighbor said, you guys are like Kathy Lee and Hoda.
I forgot that.
I know, our commentary on certain things. But no, you've got a tremendous sense of humor, you
Thanks.
know. And I would say that you're highly respected in the neighborhood.
Oh, thank
Very
you.
much so. When people say, oh, that's Margaret. She might be wearing her sunglasses, but that's her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her. She's a magician. Oh yeah, she does acupuncture too. You know, people. I find that when I talk to people and they talk about certain artists in the neighborhood, and I'll say, yeah, she's cool, whatever. They'll whisper it, they'll whisper it, like they know something that they don't want anybody else to know that they know who you are, kind of thing. And you do have a way of being somewhat incognito.
Oh yeah, I like that.
And it's crazy. I mean, this woman walks up and talks to you with these sunglasses and this big, like, beautiful fur hat. And it's like, oh, she must be a model from overseas someplace, you know? And then she takes and it's like, it's Margaret.
Yeah, I
you
like
do-
to be the observer. I like to
Yeah.
go around and
It's nice to kind of be behind the shades sometimes.
Sure.
I can imagine, yeah. So what's coming up for you? What are your next gigs?
Well, this show I did in Hartford really took up a lot of my time, so now I'm regrouping, planning
Okay.
my summer, Excuse me. I have some shows a show in Canada coming up in August, so that's my next out of town
Okay.
show. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm always just trying to. I'm actually working on a book.
Oh, okay.
A,
Tell us
a
about that.
small book. It's about self-help, acupressure, and other drug-free techniques
Okay.
for insomnia.
Oh, that'll be very
Yes,
popular.
because people are always, they come to me for that, and people are always asking me about that, and I'm always writing, you know, well, do this, and I thought,
Yeah.
well, why don't I just have something that,
Yeah, that people can refer
Right.
to, like a little reference, a reference book would be good.
and it's also going to have a sleep journal in it and a place for your own notes, so it's a workbook for people
Okay.
to work through this issue. And
Yeah.
and when I'm done with that, I'm going to do one for stress, and then I'm going to do one for do them for other issues, so that I have, so that's my next
Anxiety.
anxiety.
We
Yes.
want that.
Yes.
We need an anxiety remedy for sure.
Because Chinese medicine is participatory.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about going and getting a treatment, it's about changing how you live. That we
Yeah.
have a saying that illness is an invitation to change your life.
Oh, that's how I like it. An invitation to
Mm-hmm.
change your life. Yeah, it's not always negative like some people might think.
Well, it may not feel good. A lot of times it feels really bad. Change is not easy. That's why we don't do it.
Yeah.
But when we get that that impetus, that scare, that
Yeah.
feeling that things aren't right, then we suddenly can be motivated.
Yeah, I think we're probably naturally resistant
Everyone
as
is, yeah.
much as we're naturally resilient and adaptable. That's the strange thing about the human condition, right?
Right.
Yeah, it is a strange thing. But you know, you'll have to come back and talk about those books. And how can someone find out about you? You have a website?
The best way is easiest to remember. I have 4 websites. I have one for children's magic. I have one for Adelaide Herman. I have one for just me, and I have one for acupuncture. But MargaretSteele.com
And spell
leads
that?
to all of them. MargaretSteele.com.
.com.
Yeah.
An E on the steel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
3
but you-
E's.
3 E's.
Yeah.
3 E's in that name. But
Yeah.
you know, you're there's nothing really steel about you. You're just like soft and pink.
Oh, thank you.
You really
You're so
are.
sweet.
Yeah. That's why I'm so glad you came to be on
Aw,
the show.
thanks, TQ.
And you will come back for sure.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about that party as well.
All right. Great.
Yeah, I think that would be a fun thing for everybody.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Margaret.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Great.
coming. This was a great time. You know, I always love talking to you.
I always love talking to you too.
Yeah, in the studio, in the street, wherever. It's all good. Yeah, thanks. And thank you, everybody, for coming to the show. And I look forward to having you come back again. I hope you enjoyed this interview. I know you did. And check out Margaret. You know, she is just a wonderful person, you know. So pick up her books and come back to see me at Talk with TQ. We'll be on YouTube also. Thank you. Bye.